Welcome home, everyone. Thank you for joining in on this episode of Welcome Home with the Katinas. Welcome Home is a podcast where I, your host Josh, sit down for a conversation with different people who I admire and discuss whatever's on their mind, and especially focus on life at home in times like this. Wherever you are and however you're listening, thank you for your support, and once again, welcome home.
Tell me who, say I'm wrong again. Say I'm wrong.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining in on this week's episode of Welcome Home with the Katinas. I want to start off by thanking everyone who supports this show by listening, watching, who supports the Katinas ministry. You all are such an important part of our community, and this podcast is just a small part of what we do here at the Katinas. If you're interested in learning more about what we do, the best way to do that is to visit thekatinas.com. You'll learn more about our community, what it means to be a cousin, all of those things. So excited to get into this week's episode with my dad, my Uncle Yeti, my Uncle James. Thank you guys for being here. Today is August 3rd. The 3rd. This episode will come out probably a week from now. But I recently recorded last week's episode, and I started off by saying Happy August, and it kind of hit me like, wow, this year is flying by. I can't believe it's already here. And I'll start off with a reminder for you guys, the microphones.
Yes.
Yes. How are you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing good, and I'm you said my name, Yeti, Uncle Yeti. You said Uncle Yeti, and for the viewers that don't know, I have two names, Yeti and Sam. A lot of people know me as Sam, but if you can't say Yeti, just call me Sam. Don't call me Yeti, because I'm not a snowman.
Yeah.
I'm not
or Yeety.
I'm not Bigfoot.
I'm good, Josh. I'm good to be here. It's crazy that it's August and it's cool and it's rainy. Normally the grass is brown by now here in Tennessee. I'm looking outside of the office. It's all green. I told Mom, even though we don't have kids in school anymore, I feel the rush. I feel the angst around. I don't know if it's just more traffic in the neighborhood. I've seen buses, and maybe somebody said, "Yeah, what about the stores?" I'm like, I haven't been to the store, so it's crazy time in Tennessee.
As a matter of fact, I was with Levi. Levi is going to be a first grader. So yesterday or last night, they had basically like orientation. We met the teacher and saw his classroom, and I'm like, I've done this a few times in my life, but this will be the last one, the last time. And anytime, even in years past, school seasons past, anytime we're at this place, automatically, and Chrissy and I were talking last night, it feels like a reset for the family, and so we're looking forward to it. We have Levi going to first grade, but then we also have Haley going into her senior year. So we're being careful even in our conversation, Auntie Chrissy and I, because there's this real bittersweet thing that we're sensing already. But we're just reminding ourselves, hey, we want this to be Haley's best year, joyful, and just take it in. The emotions are going to come anyway.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at. We're excited.
That's awesome, guys. Well, I kind of want to, this is selfish of me, but like I said earlier, we're recording this on August 3rd. When this comes out, it'll be after my second wedding anniversary. Alexis and I are celebrating that. And so I do want to say, Alexis, I know you listen to this. I love you. Happy anniversary. But I wanted to talk to you guys. I've been thinking about my marriage a lot these last few days, and I would love to hear from you guys any memories that you have of when you were at 2 years into your marriage or early on in your marriage. I'm curious, like, what were the things that maybe were the challenges, but also the victories, the good things, and when you look back, all of you guys have been married for decades now. If you have any advice for a young man who's going in on year 3 of marriage, I'd love to hear it.
Wow. You're already way ahead of me when I was, because I was not asking that. Oh, man, just thinking back at, I think probably the biggest adjustment, Josh, for me and Nancy was just the cultures, bringing the cultures together. And as I remember, Kathy's first meal with, so Kathy knew, let me back up. So Kathy's sister, Kelly, is married to our first cousin, David Pritchard. And so that's how we got introduced.
Former guest of the show.
Former guest of the show, yep. And so Kathy would come over to our house even before your grandma passed away. And she met all of us, all 5 of the brothers. And I remember one of the first meals that we had, she helped prepare the meal and we put it on the table, and then we were all sitting around the table, and Kathy sits down, and Kathy says, "So how's everybody doing? What was it? How's everybody's day? What is there a good thing or a challenging thing? Let's go around the table." And we were all like, "What? What?"
And in Samoan culture, in our Samoan culture, there's a saying, there's a proverbs. You only have one mouth. You can't eat and talk at the same time. So that's where we're coming from.
I don't know where that proverb came from.
It came from a hungry Samoan.
I was gonna say,
Exactly.
food dominates.
Yeah. So I would say, man, the first 10 years of our marriage, it was just all about that. It was about adjusting and understanding that there were good things from my culture that we can use and implement, in raising our kids. And then there were some dysfunctional things too that we try to avoid and not repeat. So thinking back, I would just, man, I was joking, but man, you're way ahead, man, and I'm so proud of you and Alexis. And it's just a lot of patience, man, to like learn each other, and a lot of mistakes too, man. So.
What a great question, Josh. And I agree with Uncle Yeti. 2 years into my marriage, this Monday, right? August 7th.
Yep, the 7th is our anniversary.
I wasn't asking that kind of question. And I feel like I have a lot to say about that, but I won't, because I don't want to monopolize the conversation. I think there was some good times with me and Mom. But quite honestly, I was in such a fog because I was new to marriage, trying to figure it out. And I'll tie this in. Yesterday, as you know, we got to watch Josiah, and Mom was taking him a bath in the kitchen. Guys, I just got emotional watching my grandson. And Mom was wondering. She didn't ask me, but then I just felt like I said, "You know what, honey? I love this, and I'm thankful. But I'm also sad that when you and Eli were born, when we were taking you baths, I don't ever remember enjoying that. For me at that time, I would think I was so scared, preoccupied, too driven, to know to slow down, just to enjoy that moment. So I think I would say to you, do your best, and you're not going to do it perfectly, to enjoy this moment. The challenge of that is there's challenges that you have to embrace, that you have to look. You don't have to, but I would say take them embrace them as learning. Like, okay, this is a challenge in my marriage right now. I try to avoid challenges, not only in my marriage, but at every point of my life. Like, okay, that's hard. Let me go here. How can I make that easier? And so, as you know, as I've been going through some personal stuff over this last year, eventually it caught up to me. And I'm thankful to be married to an amazing woman like Mom after 30 years, because I'm not sure anybody would have just weathered this storm that I've been through the last year. So I would say slow down, enjoy, embrace this moment as best as you can. And when you do have kids, dude, yesterday I literally stopped work. I picked up Josiah and I was just admiring him. And again, a lot of it is joy, but some of it is like, man, I wish I would have done this with you and Eli.
Yeah.
Man, that's really good. I love the question, Josh. So I think one word that comes to mind is awareness. And so even as you were talking, Joe, about joy and the challenges, adjustments that we go through as spouses in that first 2-3 years of marriage, that idea of being aware, it actually, Chrissy and I are going to be married 20 years next May, and I think the idea of being aware really carries on throughout the life of any relationship. So much so, I think for you and Alexis, right, in this first 2 years of marriage, just being aware of moments to be joyful, but also being aware when, hey man, we're going through it, right? And it's not about trying to find the answers and be done with it, but just being aware that, okay, we've hit a bump. I always like moments when Auntie Chrissy and I have recognized the bumps where we say, hey, at least we're aware, and we're gonna figure out what we need to do. Put in the work, but it's almost hard to put in the work if we're not at least aware.
Sure.
Again, in the joyful moments and in the challenging moments.
Yeah.
Really good, man.
Go ahead, Uncle.
Well, I was just going to say, Josh, that I love what both of the brothers have said. Joe, and you were talking about just admiring Josiah. I feel like the ability to do that, it does come through challenges.
Yeah.
And even the ability to be aware. I feel like you could talk to a young person about that all you want, but they've got to go through it.
Yeah. It's
to
a
be
muscle
aware.
you have to
It's a muscle. Like they're saying, if you're going through hell, just keep going.
Yeah.
That's. I feel like that's the key. Is just don't stop. Just don't quit. Just keep going.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for the advice. So Alexis, my wife, I'm really into love languages, and her love language is gift giving, and so that's been a challenge for me because that's not my love language at all. So this is the second year I bought her an anniversary gift. Like, to be totally honest with you, if it were up to me, I would tell her, honey, we don't have to do gifts for the anniversary. Like, let's just be with each other. Let's go get a nice dinner or whatever. But gifts are a big deal for her, so they're a big deal for me. Yeah. I want to ask you guys, can you remember an anniversary gift you gave your wife, the one that you're most proud of, or maybe one that you're ashamed of?
We were with a friend the other day, and he didn't know if it was his wife's birthday or their anniversary.
Oh my goodness!
He will remain nameless. I think. See, I'm not a gifts guy either, right? Yeah. That's not my love language. I'm a simple-minded guy, so I love celebrating, sure. and we haven't done this every anniversary, but there have been a few where I would just say to Chrissy, hey, if we're going to spend money, let's not spend it on gifts. Let's go on a trip, and those that costs money too. But the few times we've celebrated an anniversary, a couple years ago when Auntie Chrissy turned 40, our anniversary and her birthday are like a month apart.
Okay.
So we celebrated. I think it was probably year 16 and her birthday, and we went somewhere, and I just love it because I feel like, man, this is well worth the money being spent because we're with each other, we're away. I think trips are way more valuable than just a little gift. Just me personally.
That makes me think, Uncle. So I'm obviously giving Alexis a gift for anniversary. We're also going on a trip just to make sure I cover all
Much
the
more
bases.
memorable. Yeah,
I think this
I love
conversation right here is not just for married people; it's for singles, man.
Yeah.
You need to ask somebody what's your love language.
Yeah.
If they say gift giving and your account is not that much, just say it's not going to work. Yeah, just say it's not going to work.
Write a poem
or go into that.
Yeah.
I give you my heart. Josh, that's a great question. Talking about awareness. So me and Mom just celebrated 30 years in March, right? And I've always looked at myself as a very aware person. Like, oh, I know a lot. Dude, I don't know crap. Because I always thought, I feel like, whether I don't know if I made this up in my mind or Mom said something early on in our marriage that she doesn't like jewelry. I thought that. A few months before our 30th anniversary, we were riding down 65 and we saw like a billboard it was a jewelry billboard.
Yeah.
And as I'm thinking, man, I'm in my heart, I'm so thankful that Lori's not into all that stuff because that's expensive. While I'm thinking that, I'm not kidding. Lori said, I have a question for you. I said, yeah. She goes, how come you never buy me jewelry? I'm like, wait, after almost 30 years, I'm like, honey, I thought you didn't like jewelry. She goes, I don't know where you got that from. I was so ashamed.
What woman doesn't like
No,
jewelry?
I know that. I probably thought it in my mind. And so we had this discussion. So I ended up buying earrings for Mom for her, special earrings for 30. And it was probably the best gift I don't know if it was the best gift, but I think it's because she felt like I heard her and I knew her. Man, so I guess I would say, like Uncle Yeti said, ask your spouse what they like.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why I came up with that she didn't like jewelry. So that would be my favorite gift that I ever gave to her. Now, I don't know if I'll get her jewelry every year, but
now
at least I know
you set
what
the
she
bar
wants.
higher now, Dad. That's funny. Uncle, any gifts come to mind for you?
Man, sadly. I know that I acknowledge the anniversary.
So,
it's
your
August
anniversary's
31st.
coming up.
Yeah, August 31st, 1991. But
Kathy being expecting some jewelry.
I think your dad's, thinking, it was wishful thinking. I hope she's not in that.
Oh, that's good.
But I know that Auntie's is quality time. You
Okay.
know? And when she tells me that quality, I go, I know we're together right now. So let's do the quality time. Man, marriage is fun, man. It's a lot of laughter, but a lot of tears, a lot of forgiving, and every day. I mean, I we're still working on it. After I think 32 years of marriage, we're still learning each other and trying to love one another like I'm trying to love her, with her love language being like, the focus.
Yeah.
And us trying to understand. And she knows, what I need, and it's good, man.
That's awesome. Well, thank you guys for talking marriage with me. We'll pivot a little bit. So I've been thinking about this a lot because of the time of year. But NFL football is coming back, and I've been watching with my wife the Netflix series Quarterback. Have you guys seen that?
Yes.
I
That's
did.
awesome.
Yeah, I watched it.
So I haven't finished it yet. I think we still have 2 episodes left. But if you're listening or watching and you haven't seen it yet, this is a series. It's I think 8 episodes where Netflix, they followed around 3 quarterbacks throughout last year's football season and basically just documented their lives and what it's like to be an NFL quarterback. And my wife, Alexa's not a big football fan, but she loves this show.
Wow,
That's
that's cool.
awesome.
And
But she played fantasy last year, and
Yeah.
I would love this. Can I say this, John?
Yeah.
I said, Lexus, who's your quarterback? She go, I got Patrick Mahomes.
My homies.
She is a
Love
Mahomes
it.
fan. But yeah, she enjoys the show. And I think it's because it's not really just all about football. It's really about what it's like to be a person with a demanding job and with dreams and aspirations. And I've been like, for me in particular, I've been really interested in like the aspect of leadership when it comes to a quarterback. Quarterbacks are obviously by default in a leadership position.
Right.
And I think everybody has the capacity to be a leader, but everyone also has different leadership styles.
Yeah.
And you kind of see that play out in the show with, it's got Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and Marcus Mariota are the 3 that they follow. So I've really enjoyed it. I want to ask you guys, how do you like the show?
Man, I really liked it. So much so, I think I finished the whole thing in 2 days.
Okay, nice.
So, but you're right. It for me, it made me appreciate professional athletes for sure, but specifically in football, that position. Yes, it's a leadership position. But there is so much that goes into being a quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, just, yes, the X's and O's, executing that, but really keeping a locker room.
Yeah.
And I do believe that leaders have different styles of leading. You know, there's some guys who are more quiet, but they lead by just their actions. What I saw, and this is just, again, a viewer and my takeaway is the exposure of the different types of leadership.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why Patrick Mahomes is he has the success that he has. Yes, it's his talent, number one. It's his skill set, but he definitely is a leader. In that locker room. He just demands the attention of his teammates. But I think what I saw in his leadership is this quality that he's putting it on the line. He's saying, hey, you follow me, you know. Now, he's not perfect, and it also exposes, you know, his own limitations or downfalls, which every leader has that too. But that's kind of what I noticed, you know, in different personalities, which it's awesome. You know, leaders lead differently, but there's just something about him that it just exudes. This guy's a leader. The moment he walks in a room. But I love the show. It made me respect just how much from a physical aspect, the toll that a quarterback goes through.
Totally.
It's real.
Yeah, I loved seeing that with Patrick Mahomes, like you were saying, James, lays it out on the line, not just with his words, but there was a moment in one of the games where he was hurt, and I would guess, you know, 99.9% of people would say, I'm hurt.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna get out there. And you know, some people go, well, that's foolish, but a leader does that sometimes.
Yeah.
I remember when Kobe Bryant snapped his Achilles.
Yeah.
And he had 2 free throws. And I remember Coach saying, we're going to get somebody. He goes, no, I'm going to go shoot my free throws. He went there and hit his 2 free throws and then hobbled back to the bench. But I feel like leaders, you know, embrace pain at times, you know. Again, it's a whole conversation of, yeah, but you got to look at the longevity but I think that a leader has to show his team sometimes that success is uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna. So that was a good part for me.
Yeah, so many lessons in that series. I love that it gave you a peek into their personal lives.
Yeah.
And I think as I was watching it, now I'm older, and I wonder if it's different than what as a teenager or somebody who is dreaming to be in the NFL. And that's a tough life, man.
Yeah.
It's a tough life, and I think life is. I heard the other day, if we're all, life is the same for all of us. We all have problems. If you're rich, you have rich people problems. If you're poor, you have poor people problems. If you're married, you have married people problems. If you're single, you have single people problems. And those dudes, and there's a lot of people who dream to play in the NFL. That was one of my dreams. And watching that series, I'm like, oof, I don't want that. And respect to people who do and go after it. But man, it's a tough life. I think I want to say this about Kirk. He was my fantasy quarterback.
Yeah,
last year.
I remember that.
Who won the championship? So Kirk helped me. He helped me. But man, I love just watching his. He was stable. You know, in the game that they came back and beat the Colts, he just stayed steady. Did you watch the whole series yet? Did you finish?
No, the
Okay.
last episode I watched was the Colts episode.
Okay, I won't spoil it. But man, he was just steady through the whole. I mean, it wasn't like he wasn't affected, but he somehow he stayed steady in the high highs and the low lows. He held on to his faith.
There was a moment in that game that I really liked where is it McConnell? Is that the head coach in Minnesota? Yeah. They're losing bad in the first half, and Kirk's not having a good game. And Kirk's running over the sideline, and the coach says, "Kirk, don't get frustrated. Don't get frustrated." And Kirk takes his helmet off and goes, "Oh, I'm getting frustrated."
And then they came back, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But he
Biggest comeback
biggest
ever.
comeback.
He was honest though. Like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah, I
I'm
like
frustrated.
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I appreciated that because talking about leaders, like I think both those guys, Kirk and Mahomes, you can tell their teams look to them as leaders. Like their team follows their example, but they're very different styles. Like I feel Mahomes seems to be more vocal and more kind of honestly like the stereotype of what you think of like a football guy, like a lot of, but Kirk is a little more, that's really just not who he is, I don't think, but he still is able to inspire people to follow him.
Yeah.
And I think his
Until
team-
he gets to that. You like that?
yeah. I think
They
it's,
actually called it the "You Like That" game.
yeah.
Remember?
Well, Kirk calls it the "You Like That" game. I thought that was hilarious. I was telling Alexis because she's not a huge football fan, so she knows who Mahomes is, but like she never heard of Kirk Cousins or Marcus Mariota before, so I just tell her little things I know about them. And one thing about Kirk that I realized is I feel like for as almost boring of a guy that he is, he has like these little moments in his career that kind of go viral that people are really into, like the "You Like That" game that like became the motto for Washington. And then like last year with the whole chains thing and him dancing on the chain
On the plane.
I don't know, I think it's funny that a guy like he's like the most, he almost just seems like a normal dad in the suburbs,
Right. Yeah.
but he has
He has
big
those moments,
yeah.
viral moments.
The third quarterback, Marcus Mariota, was like obviously we're huge fans because he's Samoan, you know.
Sure.
And I remember him getting his Heisman Trophy winner. I remember that speech where he had his Samoan necklace on, and so you know we're rooting for him all the time. But what that show showed, I guess it was last year, where when he got hurt, you know, it was almost like he just deserted the team.
Yeah.
That's what it came across. Like I don't know all the details, but the lesson for me there is, man, like if you have a position in the spotlight, that's cool. But if that's taken away, then how are you going to lead? You know,
Right.
Yeah.
how are you going to lead? And I thought that it was just unfortunate for Atlanta Falcons to have that happen. But now I hear that Marcus is in Philly. He's backing
he's
up.
backing up Jalen Hurts, and
It's a good job. Good job.
Yeah.
man.
A backup quarterback,
Yeah,
you can have a
absolutely.
long career. One of the things I liked about Marcus, his time on the show, was, and I felt like this was so Samoan, was that his like best friend, he paid him to be his chef.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that he lived
Yeah.
with them and cooked with them. I just thought maybe that it's not exclusively a Samoan thing,
Right.
but I just thought, having your childhood friend, now he's your chef. I was like, that makes sense. to
So
me.
Polynesian.
Exactly.
It reminds me of Charlie doing sound for
Yeah.
us, man. He was a friend that knew nothing about sound, but remember those early days where he would have a production magazine out. He was learning it. So hopefully Marcus' friend is getting the chef book out and learning how to cook how to throw down, man. Don't make me some spaghetti.
That's one interview I would have loved to have had was with Uncle Charlie to talk with him about a lot of things, but I would have loved to hear his stories about how he learned the skills that he had, and that would have been a good interview. Maybe on the other side, maybe there's podcasts in heaven. I don't know. Last story I want to talk to you guys. It's about it's kind of sports related. But have you guys seen the videos of this? It's a sprinters. These women's sprinters. Have you guys seen this?
No.
No.
Maybe I shouldn't. Well, I guess there's like some international event going on right now in track and field, and so there were these women running the 100-meter race, right?
Yeah.
And they're all representing their countries. And somehow the country of Somalia, they have it's literally a government position like the minister of youth sports or something like that. Well, his daughter was representing Somalia in the 100-meter dash, but you can tell she's never run a race in her life.
Whoa.
And so there's a video of her with these world-class sprinters.
Crazy.
And then just honestly, she's just a normal person who's but people are making fun of her and stuff.
Man.
But it's also it's interesting to just see in front of your eyes the difference between like world-class athletes, people who spend their whole lives practicing, and then someone who just kind of showed up because their dad put them. I wish you guys could see that, but
Interesting.
Wow.
That's interesting.
yeah.
I don't know. So is it just going viral and people are talking about?
People are angry with the minister of sports
Yeah,
who's saying,
yeah.
like, it's just a nepism that, your daughter.
I don't know I don't know how this relates, but yesterday we played volleyball,
Yeah.
right? Me, Uncle John, Eli, Jackson, the nephews, Blaze and River, and we were all playing, and we're not great volleyball players. Obviously, this is like our 5th time playing this year. But there is a semblance of where everybody's decent, like athletic, or at least understands
the
game, right?
Yeah.
And it was, it's good. Again, we're not good, and then a bunch of people showed up. And from what I hear, their conversation, they come every Wednesday. But it's more for rec. And they were not good. No, I'm just thinking in my mind, like, I think sometimes just in life you have some people that they're not. I don't know if it's because they played football. We play basketball. Some things just come naturally.
Yeah.
And then there's other people who really work hard or don't work, and they have 9-to-5 jobs and show up every Wednesday to play volleyball. And I guess in my mind when I was leaving, I was like, I don't know if I would go to I would never go and play softball because I can't play softball. I can't even hit. I guess part of me was angry last night, but the other part of me respects people. Like, that's pretty cool that you go to do something every Wednesday that you can barely do.
Yeah.
The other
Interesting.
wow, that's good. So Joe, that story, it's like all of those people playing together. I don't know that they put themselves in a position where they can see better talent. you know, or if they just seen the same, you know what I'm saying? So this, when you brought up the young lady from Somalia, it's like different countries have different priorities, and
Yeah.
it's like to them that's fine. But Josh, this might be a good segue too, because like when it comes to UFOs and aliens, our country, we don't put any priority on that. But other countries, like in any of Latin America, whenever anything like that is spotted, boom, they investigate it.
Oh, yeah.
They don't just say you know. But we've done that, and now look what's happening right now. Currently, we have people from what's it in Florida, the NASA. People is sitting in front of Congress right now. And now they're unloading all of this data, this information that they've been keeping away from our country.
Yeah.
They felt like this is protecting us. But meanwhile, those other countries were like, protecting from what? Just talk about the truth.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that's a good...
Have you guys been paying? I'm so glad you brought that up.
I haven't.
So
What's
they've
going
been-
on?
So there's been congressional hearings over the last week or two with a lot of people from NASA, people from the U.S. Air Force, the military, basically telling Congress their stories.
Of the UAVs.
UAPs.
Yeah. UAPs.
Yeah, they don't call them UFOs anymore. They call them UAPs, which is unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Yeah.
So
But some
here's
of it-
where
yeah,
my
go ahead.
conspiracy mind goes.
Yeah.
It's to cover up everything that's really going on in the government.
It's a sidebar. It's a
like-
distraction.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
probably wrong.
Well, so two of the guys who testified before Congress, one of them said he testified under oath that the U.S. government is in possession of alien spacecraft and aliens.
Yeah.
They have, and this guy was in the Air Force, I believe.
Yeah.
But he was formerly. I had heard of him before because he had been on the Joe Rogan podcast. Because Rogan's really into this kind of stuff, but that made me think of, and I want to recommend an episode for you guys to listen to Joe Rogan. He just recently had it. Is with a guy named Stephen C. Meyer. Have you heard of him? So Stephen C. Meyer or Myers, sorry, he is a creationist, and he brilliant physicist and scientist. And Joe Rogan had a 3-hour conversation with him because Rogan has a lot of physicists on, like scientist guys who talk about, you know, things like the Big Bang and evolution, natural selection. Rogan, I really appreciate it. Rogan let this guy go on and just say his piece on why he believes that the universe is the result of a creator. And it was really fun listening to a guy like Joe Rogan, who I think he doesn't believe that, but he's open-minded enough to let someone have a conversation with them, and him asking genuine questions, not just he was pressing him on some things. And Steve, I really thought that this guy was well prepared for the interview, and I think you guys would enjoy it. But.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but some of the footage, man, that like they had this pilot, American Airlines pilot.
Yeah.
He saw something out of it,
Yeah.
and so he got his cell phone out, and he walked. It was like a little. It looked like a ball.
They call
like
it a Tic Tac.
Yeah, and it was well, the Tic Tac was this one that I'm talking about. It was black, and
Okay.
it was a more round one. But there's this number of footage that people have. So as a believer, I'm just thinking, okay, I was just trying to think about my readings from Genesis to Revelation. I don't remember reading anything about extraterrestrial beings, but I'm sure there are verses that tell us what do we do,
Rogan even asked Stephen Meyer about that, because it comes out in the interview. Stephen C. Meyer, he's a Christian, right? And Rogan asked him, well, if you found out that aliens existed, wouldn't that change your belief in the Bible? And I'll let you guys listen to it. He had a really good answer for that.
Okay,
Uncle. You would enjoy that.
There was, and I don't know if it was this particular pilot, but I did. I just saw like a snippet. One person saw it was a flying object, and in midstream it stopped and it went in reverse. Right. So as far as any person in aeronautics or a pilot, they know there's no human-made vehicles that are
Yeah.
able to do that, and they captured it, right? So you can't explain it, but it's a lot of these kinds of sightings and things that are in question now. That again, these are not like some cuckoo individuals.
Yeah.
These are like experts and professionals who they're making these claims. There's actually a representative, the lady from Florida, Representative Luna. She actually was invited by this group of people, and
Oh, wow.
she said that she saw accounts
Yeah.
of these things that are, they're put away in some facility.
Yeah, this is a different conversation from demons. I mean, as believers, we all understand spiritual warfare and spiritual darkness and demons, and then sometimes demons manifest themselves through humans. But this is different. These are like created beings supposedly. So we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see
yeah.
how it all unfolds.
One of the pilots, I think he was a Navy or Air Force pilot. He said that for decades now, it's been like if you tell a military pilot about these things, it's not even a big deal to them.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we see those all the time. We don't know what they are. You saw one of the Tic
Yep.
Tacs, one of the orbs or whatever.
So
It's just a normal
I'll
thing.
just ask this question because I'm not following the hearings. I've just seen snippets. But I guess the question that I have, and maybe just the average person, is if the government is withholding this information, what's the reason? Because after that question, I'm thinking, well, it's probably because, well, we want to protect mankind from. I don't know what it is, but that's always my question. Why not? Why not like some of these Latin countries? They investigate,
Right.
as you said. Yeah. Or maybe that's the question. What's the pros and cons of finding out or investigating, and for the general public to know?
I think when you hide something, you don't have a knowledge to address it, And so I think because a lot of these sightings, some people think they're probes.
Yep.
They're just probes just coming in and seeing, okay, who are these? What human? What did they do? And they're just studying us. And there is a possibility that they're game planning. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Some people, there's theories that maybe these UAPs are not aliens. They're actually U.S. military tech, and that the U.S. is just hiding. We might have technology so far advanced that people don't even know about it, and that the military is hiding that. But there's all kinds of stuff to...
I can't wait to see how you make sense of how we talked about marriage and now aliens.
It all belongs, guys.
That's awesome.
Here's the tie.
Yeah.
Trust God.
Just go.
That's
Yeah,
it.
Uncle.
Yeah.
When you said the government's just trying to protect us, I don't really feel like they're interested in protecting us.
You want to protect me?
Yeah.
Lower your prices.
Yeah,
Dude,
exactly.
I think of Josh. You and I went and watched Oppenheimer a couple days ago, and I mean that's what basically when they were making the atomic bomb, nobody knew about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get into the weeds, but it was crazy to me just how just war and evil.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to spoil the movie, but the way I interpret it is like when we basically wiped out Hiroshima and Nagasaki,
Yeah.
and it just to America, it was like praise God.
Yeah.
They didn't say that, but that there was this. It was music and just showing their faces, and it's basically how when you at our church service and people worship, and I just thought, man, what is mankind doing to each other?
Yeah.
And just the heart of God of like, that's why I'm telling you, the arrogance, love each other, surrender.
Yeah.
Everybody's fighting for power
Yeah.
and this evil. And again, not to try to bring a spiritual bow to this, but I think, Josh, for marriage, that's what it is. It's trying to outserve one another.
Yeah.
Not for ourselves, but just because that's what God commanded us to do. And after 30 years of marriage, I feel like I'm starting to just get a glimpse of that. Man, it's not about me. And when it's not about me, somehow, I think it was Oswald Chambers that says, we are most satisfied when God is most glorified. So,
That's good.
aliens, welcome to our world.
Maybe I can't wait for the day. It's hard for me because I really want to believe in aliens. So it kind of, I think the critical part of my mind gets shut off when I hear stories. I just start believing everything. But maybe one day we'll be able to really talk about aliens on this podcast.
If aliens are real, hopefully they're kind, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're better than humans.
Yeah. For a change.
There's a joke that said the aliens they're out in the universe searching for intelligent life, and they came to Earth, they couldn't find it.
They search high and low.
Yeah.
And we went to the White House. We're like, oh, no, it's not there.
Well, thank you guys for being here.
Thank you, Josh.
We'll end there. To those of you listening, thank you for tuning in. We'll be back with more episodes soon. Have a great day.